Become costing methods, advantages and disadvantages of process costing and presented by A.K. Mekla. In this session we shall see the advantages and disadvantages of process costing under Unit 3 process costing. First we shall see the advantages of process costing. First one is among the advantages of process costing, the first one is procedure of determination of process cost is simple. Here in process costing, the way of finding out the process costing is very simple. While producing a product, we have to undergo some 3 to 5 processes. So in each and every process, the cost incurred has to be found out. First process, what is the cost, we have to find out. Second process, what is the cost, we have to find out. The third process, what is the cost, we have to find out. Add up all the three, we get the total cost of the production. So this is very simple. Second advantage is that process costing helps in controlling cost by evaluating the performance of each process. In process costing, the management is able to find out the cost incurred in each and every department, in every process. So it becomes very easy for the management to control the cost in a respective process by evaluating the performance of each process. In other words, the management can easily control the cost of each process by evaluating its performance, by seeing whether its performance is great or below the standard. If it is below the standard, it can find out the ways. If the cost is very much higher than the standard, then it can try to find out where it went wrong. Or if the costs are very less, cost expenditure is very less, then the management can try to retain the same cost. So in this way the process costing helps to control the cost to the management. Third one is that process costing helps in determining unit cost by dividing the total cost and units produced in each process. Process costing helps to find out the unit cost. How? First it will find out the total cost. How to find out the total cost? By adding the cost incurred in each and every process. So imagine if the production department has 3 processes. So what the management has to see, what is the cost incurred in the first process, what is the cost incurred in the second process, what is the cost incurred in the third process. Add up the 3, the management gets the total cost incurred in the production. Apart from that, it should incur some other expenses that also should be added depending upon the case. So after getting the total cost, the management has to count the number of units produced, and then that should be divided by the management. So in that way, the process costing helps to find out the unit cost. In other words, for each and every process also, the management can find out the unit cost. In the sense, for each and every process, the management has to find out the total cost, and the number of units produced in each process should be divided, and the management will get the unit cost per process. So in the same way, it has to find out for each and every process the unit cost can be determined easily. Fourth advantage is that in process costing, it is easy to allocate the expenses to various processes. In process costing, as the expenditure incurred in each and every process can be identified separately, and such it can allocate the expenditure also to the respective departments easily. Fifth one is that process costing helps in quoting the prices with standardization of process. Here, in this case, as the management is able to find out the total cost, and it also is able to find out the unit cost with the help of the units produced in each process and production as a whole. The process costing helps the management in quoting the prices, as the production processes are very much standardized and there is no specific demand from the consumer. So the production processes are uniform throughout the production. We shall see next the disadvantages of process costing. Costs ascertained are historical in nature and are of limited use in case of control. In process costing, mostly the cost incurred or the cost found out are very much old or very much historical in nature, so they cannot be kept using for a long period. As such, the cost ascertained are limited only for a particular period and they cannot be used throughout a long duration. Second disadvantage is that process costing conceals weaknesses and inefficiencies in processing. In some departments, especially in public sector departments, process costing conceals because of the inefficiency of policy making and mismanagement. Process costing conceals the weaknesses and inefficiencies in processing, which is detrimental to the efficiency of the company and in the long run the existence of the company. Third disadvantage is that the evaluation of work in progress is on the basis of degree of completion and merely a guesswork. Usually, in process costing, the work in progress is calculated on the basis of completion, and as such, the management sometimes may go wrong in calculating the degree of completion. So, the work in progress evaluation and its cost finding out or determination may be wrong, and so this may be just a guesswork, and that leads to improper or wrong calculation of the cost incurred in a particular process. This could be one of the disadvantages of process costing. Fourth one is that process costing does not help in evaluating the performance of individual workers. Process costing usually concentrating only on the materials incurred, materials introduced, work in progress, and how much is completed. As such, it fails to identify the skill of the workers employed in a particular process, And so efficient workers cannot be identified or cannot be encouraged, and their contribution towards the production are not recognized, which is also a negative point in case of process costing. The final disadvantage is that it becomes difficult to compute average cost where more than one type of product is manufactured. In case of single product, it's very easy to calculate the average cost of the product because total cost divided by the number of units produced. If the factory is producing more than one product, then it is very difficult for the management to differentiate which cost comes under which product, and so it becomes very difficult for the management to identify the cost incurred for which product, and it is very difficult to find out the total cost and the average cost, and as such the company is very difficult, it becomes very difficult for the company to fix the profit margin as well as the selling price for the products, which is not advisable to find out the profit and to fix further price for the product. For this session we shall refer these references.